Hi everyone, welcome to QuickArts. My name is Cindy and I'm here to share with you a little bit about my painting practice.
My inspiration for most of my paintings comes from the natural world, particularly of a flora theme of both land and water. I have a background in textile design and I teach art and well-being to primary aged children. I have a real affinity to light and how it filters through limpid waters or how it transmits through diaphanous fabrics. So transparencies, sheers, delicate textures are all things I'm drawn to. Painting for me is purely a form of relaxation. It keeps me grounded and I hope to share with you some watercolour techniques I've learnt along the way. So our focus is to paint a plant stem submerged in these transparent layers using just two colours and two techniques. We will use a wet on wet technique to create some texture on these leaves and a wet on dry technique to create these translucent bubbles. You will need some watercolour paper, and in keeping with the 9x5 theme, I have cut mine to size. A good watercolour brush, I use the Cindy brand here. A pipette, that is optional. The two colours you need, Indigo by Daniel Smith and a Phthalocyanine Blue number 326. That is by a French brand named Sennelier, which is really beautiful to use. Jars of clean water, some dishes to hold the watercolour. There's a kneadable eraser there, which is optional, and an HB grey lead. Start by preparing your watercolours. I use the tiniest amount of indigo blue here in a dish. Then I'll use my pipette and load it up with lots of water. I don't have a formula here, it's just trial and error really. You want a nice translucent consistency. This does come with experience, so just have a play and test it on some extra paper. And I want you to create a second dish of indigo, which is a little bit darker. Prepare your Phthalocyanine Blue the same way. Mine's just out of my paint pan palette, which is why it looks this way, but yours will be from a paint tube, I'm assuming. Once you have your plant stem drawn up, start from the top and work your way down using both your blues, randomly placing these colours anywhere you like. With your wet on wet technique, drop some clean water onto a wet surface and just watch the pigments dance around your paper and swirl. It creates some beautiful textures. If you have layered your leaves in your drawing, just make sure your top ones are fully dry before painting in your others. Okay, transparent bubbles, a couple of tips. So you want to load up your brush with watercolour, apply your paint, and with some paper toweling, dry off your brush and return to your painting to mop away any excess paint, just so that you're left with a nice thin transparent layer. The next important tip is before you add your second colour on top, that your first layer is completely dry. Sometimes I use a hairdryer to help speed up the process, the drying process, and that is it. I'm making sure all my white spaces are filled by continuing the layering process. Once completely dry, I've gone in and added some details to my leaves with some deeper indigo blues. If you're interested in seeing more of my work, I'm on Instagram at skep.studio, or you can visit my Big Cartel store.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you've been able to take away something new. Keep exploring, keep experimenting with new materials, and enjoy the process along the way.